The old wooden door creaked open, and a hush fell over the dimly lit biker bar. Boots clattered against the worn floorboards as a teenage girl stepped inside, her gray hoodie pulled tight under a black leather vest. The men inside, grizzled bikers with weathered faces, tattoos, and half-empty beer mugs, turned to look at her. A few snickered, others smirked. What was a teenage girl doing in a place like this? She didn't belong here. Not among them. Not in their world. But she stood tall, her hands trembling only slightly as she walked forward. The sunlight streaming through the doorway glinted off the back of her jacket, catching the bold lettering stitched in cream and gold, Iron Wolves. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of respect, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because what happens next will remind you that appearances can be deceiving, and every story has a heart behind it. The laughter started from the far side of the room. One of the bikers, a burly man with a white beard and a mug of beer in hand, leaned forward and barked a laugh. "Hey, sweetheart. That's a big name on that jacket. You sure you didn't get it off a thrift store rack?" His buddies roared in agreement. The girl stopped, her face pale but determined. Her boots scuffed the floor as she reached the center of the room, every eye fixed on her. She didn't answer. Instead, she slowly turned around, letting the men read the patch stitched at the bottom of her vest. The laughter died instantly. The patch read, in bold, aged thread, founding member. 1971. The silence was heavy. You could hear the clock ticking behind the bar. The air seemed to thicken as realization dawned on their faces. The burly man's grin faded, his eyes narrowing, not in anger, but disbelief. The youngest biker among them muttered under his breath, that's impossible." The girl's voice finally broke the silence, soft yet filled with pain and pride. She told them she was Sarah Bennett, the daughter of Jack Steele Bennett, one of the original founding members of the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club. Her father had passed away just 6 months ago, leaving behind not only his beloved Harley but the jacket she now wore. Every stitch, every patch on it was a piece of his legacy. "He told me," she said, her voice steady now, "that this jacket carried more than just a name, it carried respect, loyalty, and heart. And I'm not here to wear it for style. I'm here to keep his promise alive." The room stayed quiet. The men exchanged looks, some ashamed, others visibly moved. The man who had mocked her earlier lowered his gaze, setting his beer down. His eyes softened, and he nodded toward her. "Your old man, he was one of the best." Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. She remembered her father's last words before his heart finally gave out, "Don't ever let them tell you who you are, Sarah. You were born to ride your own road." That was why she came. Not to prove herself. Not to seek approval. But to bring her father's jacket back to where it belonged, to the heart of the brotherhood he helped build. As she stood there, the bikers began to recall stories of her father, how he was the one who helped them get off the streets when they had nowhere to go, how he taught them to respect every rider, no matter who they were. The room that had once echoed with laughter now filled with memories and regret. The man with the beard stood up, his voice trembling slightly as he said, "Steele always said family isn't about blood, it's about those who show up when the world turns its back. You just showed up, kid." He took off his own leather vest and placed it gently on the bar counter beside her. "You don't need to earn respect here, Sarah. You've already got it." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes. For years she had felt out of place, too young to be taken seriously, too soft for the world her father came from. But now, surrounded by his brothers, she realized that she wasn't alone. They weren't just bikers. They were family, the family her father had trusted her to find again. That night, they shared stories until the moon hung high and the bar lights dimmed. They told her how her father once rode through a thunderstorm to deliver blood to a hospital for a fellow biker's child, and how he risked his life to pull one of them out of a wreckage years ago. Each tale painted a picture of a man who lived by loyalty, not by reputation. And now, his daughter stood among them, young, brave, and carrying that same spirit. The next morning, as the sun rose over the horizon, the iron wolves gathered outside. The engines roared to life, dozens of motorcycles lined up in a formation that shook the earth. Sarah stood beside her father's Harley, the one he'd left for her. Her hands trembled as she gripped the handlebars. One of the older bikers, his eyes glistening, came up beside her and said, "Ride with us, Sarah. Ride for steel." She nodded, kicking the starter. The bike came alive, and in that moment, she felt him beside her, the rumble of the engine carrying his memory forward. They rode together down the long stretch of road, sunlight glinting off chrome and leather. The sound was deafening, but beneath it was something purer, a shared heartbeat of loyalty, loss, and love. When they reached the open countryside, the group stopped at a quiet hill overlooking the valley, a place her father used to love. There, they parked their bikes in a circle, revved their engines 3 times in tribute, and then sat in silence. Sarah placed her hand on her jacket, whispering a promise. "I'll make you proud, Dad. Always." As the wind carried her words away, one of the bikers pulled out a small metal badge from his vest. It read Iron Wolves Legacy Rider and pinned it on her jacket just below her father's patch. She looked down at it, her heart full. It wasn't about being accepted anymore, it was about belonging to something that would never die. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes, the smallest act of courage can honor a lifetime of love and respect. Comment below what you would have done if you were in Sarah's place. Would you have walked away, or faced them like she did? As the engines roared again and the iron wolves rode off into the golden horizon, the camera would linger on the back of Sarah's jacket, founding member, a reminder that courage, legacy, and love can echo louder than any laughter ever could.